Hello everybody, and just here and welcome back to Shinmai Renkinjutsushi no Tenpo Keiei, Management of a Novice Alchemist. Did I say NGS here? I did. And also my cat, she's also here. Ever pursuing the pets, and she's currently just purring here behind me. And she's just going to stay here, apparently. Because, I don't know, she needs company right about now. Maybe she's gonna get more to the front, but right now she's laying there. Right, episode 7 of Shinmai Renkinjutsushi no Tenpo Keiei. Indeed. I'm recording it right after episode 6. And in episode 6, what happened? Story-wise, not that much. The only thing of real significance, well, 3 things, kinda sorta. One thing is we established that Sarasa's shop is doing very well, that she is bringing prosperity to the village. The other thing is that Sarasa's pendant is not something that gives her more power. It's not a mana storage or anything of the sort. It's a limiter. It limits how much power she can output. And without that limiter, she's quite powerful. I mean, she's powerful even with it, so let alone without it, right? And the third thing, it was kind of hand waved at the very end, is that she's making donations to an orphanage. Is it her orphanage? Is it some random orphanage? We don't know that. Feels kind of weird to do that off screen, but perhaps just due to time constraints or whatever, it wasn't done. What did we achieve besides that? Well, we achieved a stronger bond between Sarasa and Loria. Sarasa very much admires Loria, probably as much as Loria admires Sarasa. It's a relationship of mutual admiration, which in itself is admirable, honestly. So that was cool. That was cute. Some very tender, cute moments between those two. So hey, if that was all that was in that episode, it would still have been great. Besides that, we managed to fish out some clams. We got some ingredients out of them, culinary and alchemical. So I wonder what Sarasa is going to make with those. Perhaps some scuba gear or something along those lines. We don't know. And we also hunted a big-ass lamprey monster thing, and we ate it broiled. And maybe it also has some valuable ingredients, we don't know. And besides that, it was mostly just a chill episode of hanging around, having a picnic, swimming, learning to swim, and then having some barbecue by the campfire, singing a song, playing a flute. Very chill, very chill. Which means that perhaps this episode will be less chill. Was the previous episode, was episode 6, a calm before the storm? Or are we just gonna keep the very chill atmosphere all throughout the season in this episode and in future episodes as well? Where do you want to go now? On the windowsill, or do you want to go down, or what do you want to do? You want to lay on the windowsill. Fine by me. Okay. So, in today's episode, again, I don't know, was the previous one a calm before the storm, or are we continuing the chill vibes? Are we gonna explore Sarasa and Alora's relationship more? Are we gonna make some cool new stuff out of the new ingredients we acquired? What's going to happen exactly? Beats me. And to see what's going to happen, we of course need subs, or rather, you need the subs to follow along. I need sound, on the other hand, to hear what's going on. And I also have to ask you for your support, monetary, Patreon, throne, links in the description, or not. Share my content, spread the word, it's free and helps the channel a lot. And with all of that out of the way, we can start watching episode 7 of Shinmai Renkinjutsushi no Tenpo Keiei, Management of a Novice Alchemist, in, let me get focus, in 3, 2, 1, go. It is. It very much is your house. Interesting that we're continuing where we left off. I was fully expecting a little bit of a time skip. A gift from her master, probably. I mean, you just need a new chain, don't you? So just alchemy a new chain. Or buy a new chain. Gotcha. So the chain kinda acts like a conduit, probably. Time to go to the capital then? Or ask her master. Yeah, makes sense. Or she's going to scold her for being careless. Probably both. And she's the kind that will first scold Saras and flick her forehead, and then hug her and ask if everything is fine. And say that she was worried. Being free can feel so restricting. Damn. Some deep philosophy. Or are we going on another adventure to gather the materials for the chain? Or is she gonna get a new one? In one scene in the opening, she's seen wearing the pendant on like a string thing. Not a chain, but rather a like single thread thing. Hey yo, I need a new chain. Yeah. We were fighting, the chain broke. Send a new. Flashbacks? Flashbacks. Let's go. What kind of a question? Again, I've no clue what's written there. Ara ara. That's enough. Yep. You need to pass some of the screening first. Of course. It's a job interview. Solve this at-home assignment thing. If only hiring was that simple. Welcome to my BDSM dungeon. More like an interrogation room. Because you can mold her as you see fit. Time to put theory into practice then. Sand? Ooh, that sucks. You need hands-on experience at school. That's how I teach my students. Less theory, more like putting things into practice. Boom. Oh, she crystallized the entire basement. I mean, you already were frozen partially. And she's gonna need a limiter to be able to use it properly. She can just melt it. Or disappear it, that also works, I guess. You put too much power into it. Yeah? You were supposed to create tiny crystal and you crystallize the whole room instead. That's a weird analogy, so we say it. But I guess it works. Wine spilling over, sure. The school's gonna fucking explode. Oh! You can seal someone's magic power away if they're problematic. That's scary. Kind of like the people in Dragon Age. Those like, what were they called? Silent ones? Something along those lines. Whose magic power and emotions alongside them were taken away. She's making a limiter. Yep. Artifacto da. Seems fair. Yep, very much so. You're an apprentice now. Did you think it's just a regular job? Makes sense. Let's trim those bangs now. I mean, again, it's just the chain that's broken. It's not a big deal. Okay, so it is going to get a string, not a chain. You can always try to smash and boil them, put them in a stew. Even the meat is like okra. Half of them is gonna be transported and half is gonna end here. Stay here. Did nobody try, like, I don't know, send a mouse through a teleportation ring? Like, you'd think that people would have tried it. Maybe not with humans straight away, but with a bug. And she's gonna fall into the circle. Oh! Oh! The limits are off. And the ring is broken. Because you put too much power into it, because you weren't being limited. Yeah, that's her pendant. I mean, at least nobody alive was sent through, which is what I fully expected is going to happen, honestly. Or that someone's hand is gonna get transported, for example. Seems so. Probably. It's like sticking a fork into a microwave. But it's a very special artifact that's a limiter. Why? Didn't she just manage to run here in like 2 days or something? Okay, but everything you're gonna do is gonna explode. Or I guess it could be a training arc to her. Learn to limit her own power without the limiter, right? Those crystals look pretty burned out to me, so unlikely. Also, the lines are smeared, so unlikely it's gonna fix itself. Also, you'd think that an important circle like that would be like etched into the floor instead of just drawn with like coal. Or I don't know, embossed or filled in with, like, I don't know, liquid metal for that metal to keep the shape. Something, right? Time to run. Hmm. I mean, probably. What else can she do? That's lies. Or not, and she truly didn't intend to take an apprentice. But yeah, Sarasa was special. Retroactive character growth. That's fresh. I like it. Yeah, and it would have ended badly. Already prepared. And can't make anything. Looks like results of experimenting with baking soda, and vinegar. I mean, kinda, but why is it an issue? Okay, I guess the uncertainty. Right, the uncertainty is killing her. She can't say one way or another what happened. Oh, that's a coincidence. I was afraid she's gonna run to the capital and they're gonna like miss each other, and that's gonna be a whole issue. But no, everything works out. Okay, so it's still a chain. So what? You can still rely on other people. And she already has become one, if you ask me. Probably different reasons, though. Okay, so they don't need replacing. They can just be unburned. And the circle can just be unsmeared. I would have expected them to have to, like, draw new lines at least or something, but no, it can just be unsmeared. At least stay for dinner. Or breakfast, or whatever time of day it is right now. Yeah, a couple of indebted laborers. Please do. That's a cool shot. The kind of protagonist heading out of their village where they grew up towards adventure shot. Okay, what's gonna pop out of the cauldron in this ending? At the end, in the previous episode, it was that squirrel fox thing. What's it gonna be now? That name Balcolony still cracks me up. It's a balcony, it's a colony, it's a balcolony. And it's a crystal rose. In the red again. Because she didn't have anything to sell, so that makes sense. She was preoccupied with other things. And what we are going to preoccupy ourselves with right now is watching this episode again. Shall we? Yes, we shall. Stupid question. Not that this is my house. Soon enough. Soon enough it will be. You're gonna move in. I mean, she's pretty much already moved in, honestly. It's just she spends the nights at her home, I think. The rest of the day she spends at Sarasa's shop, so might as well just move in permanently, right? This pendant, like, on one hand, I get it, right? It hasn't been destroyed, just the chain broke off. But on one hand, I get it. It's a gift from the master. It's very important, not just functionally important, but also important as a memento, right? As something that she got from her master, as something that, like, signifies her apprenticeship, almost her start of her new life as an alchemist. Why didn't it switch? Switch, please. Okay, I'm gonna do it this way then. Yeah, my remote control apparently didn't want to work. Right. It's significant, sure. but it seems to me like it's made into too big of a deal, right? Like, again, it's just the chain that got busted, not the pendant itself. Not like she lost it, not like it's somewhere at the bottom of the lake, not like it's been cracked or anything. It's just the chain, and we build a whole, like, super dramatic situation around it. Now, Sarasa probably receives it differently than I do, but the fact remains that it's kind of overblown. Now, okay, for the chain you need the materials that are super processed properly. Apparently you can't get a hold of stuff like that outside of the capital. How do they know what exactly is needed? Sarasa didn't mention any ingredient by name. She didn't say that she needs magic iron or ice steel or anything of the sort. She just said processed materials. Bit of a maybe not entirely even a plot hole, but I don't know. Let's send along a souvenir too. Some of the meat. A letter explaining what happened. And flashbacks. Flashbacks to how she started her alchemical journey. This is an interesting way of hiring people. I'm assuming what it says here is essentially we are hiring fresh students. Answer this question, or rather, if you can't answer this question, don't bother coming in. If you can answer it, then you can go to another stage of the interview. And she can answer it very easily and very excitedly. Hitting process, yada yada yada. And yeah, another test. Her eyes are glowing. She's probably trying to figure out what Sarasa's deal is, and she sees that she has a lot of magic power. That's probably the moment. Or she's using magic to like stamp this and say position taken or whatever. Why didn't she like burn it away or something, or made it disappear? I don't know, but sure. Makes sense. All the questions were answered properly. You're hired. Make a crystal. Haven't had anything but lectures at school. That sucks an awful lot. The best way to learn is through practice. I went to a technical college and learning IT and programming, stuff like that. The first 2 semesters were just theory. First two or just first semester? I think the first 2 semesters. It was just theory. The first semester was mostly just humanities, well, kind of, sort of. It was sociology, it was business, it was all sorts of things like that that didn't even have anything to do with programming. Second semester was the theory of algorithms and data structures, operating systems, things like that. Only third semester onwards, we got some hands-on experience. In my opinion, hands-on experience should be included in teaching right from the get-go. The best way to learn is by doing. I think there's something. How did it go? You remember 50% of what you hear, 70% of what you say, and 90% of what you do. Something along those lines. I don't remember the saying exactly, but I always found it true. Listening, hearing something, it just goes in through one ear and goes out the other. Having to say something, completely different thing, because you remember the things you say, and having to do something, that's how you remember things. That's how you truly remember how to do things. Everything crystallized because she has so much magical power. Your weakness, but also your strong point. And this whole allegory about wine, how an even especially strong adult couldn't manage that with a cask. I guess the point is that when you're using like a bottle or a pitcher, then you can control the amount of wine you pour in finely, but when you use a whole cask, then it's kind of hard to control the amount of wine, so you can overfill it. Something along those lines. With wine, it causes some stains, but with school, you will have your magical power sealed away and be expelled. Magical power sealed away. That's interesting. Very interesting. If power can be limited, wouldn't whoever, the principal or the teacher or whoever else, also figure out, hey, she's kind of strong, let's make a limiter for her? Right? Wouldn't that be the case? Straight into, oh no, she's too powerful, she cannot be allowed to use magic, let's seal it away? Straight into treating her like a freak of nature, like a monster? She can't have been the only one singular person in the history of ever who has this much power. There has to be a precedent for that. Weird that they would jump straight into sealing her powers away. Also, nobody bothered to check the amount of power each student has at the beginning of school. You'd think there would be some assessment test. Kinda odd. Or perhaps it's not deemed necessary because super powerful or super weak people are outliers. They don't appear here like more often than once every 100 years or whatever. So there aren't any mechanics systems in place to detect them and help them and handle them properly. I wonder. I gotta pay back the people who took care of me. Oh, we now have it explained why she made the donation to the orphanage. Retroactively explained. I like this kind of retroactive explaining. Um, yeah, I like it because it also adds a bit of continuity. The same way in the previous episode, in episode 6, we saw L'Oréal make cookies that appeared at the end of episode 5. It's a bit of continuity. Here, I was wondering, at the end of episode 6, what's the deal with the orphanage? Here, episode 7 explains it. I like it. I really do like it. Ophelia couldn't leave you be. Of course she couldn't. She's a softie at heart. Restriction artifact. In exchange, we're gonna work here until you graduate. And we're even gonna train you on the job. Shisho or Sensei? Call her both. Sensei Shisho. Sending away some meat. There are no cases of live creatures being transferred. Why do I get the ominous feeling that it's a red herring? Not red herring. That it's Chekhov's gun. That it's foreshadowing. That someone is going to be sent through the circle. And some fucky wucky things are going to happen. And then on the other hand, why are there no cases of live creatures being transferred? Seems weird to me, right? Like, we build this whole thing of alchemists doing experiments and making things and creating a whole science around it. And now you're telling me that scientists, because that's what alchemists in this world are, scientists haven't tried everything. What happens if I send an egg? What happens if I send a lead rod? What happens if I send water? What happens if I send a mouse? What happens if I stick my finger into it? What happens if I lick it? That's the basis of science, and you're telling me nobody tried to send a fucking fruit fly through it? I don't know. Seems off. Seems off. I don't know if it's the fault mm, of the writing here, that just conveniently nobody ever tried it. Why? I don't know. I guess nobody thought of it. Or is it something like, I know, there's a big tome of alchemical rules that was written 50,000 years ago, and it says no sending living things, and nobody ever did that because everybody sticks to those rules and adheres to them to the letter. There are no rogue alchemists who would just send a mouse through a circle like that. Whatever the case is, it's off. It's odd. I'm not sure if we're gonna get an explanation, but if we do, it better be a damn good one. Because scientists not doing stupid shit is very off brand for scientists. Very off brand. The difference between. Who said it? I think it was Adam Savage. I think it was Adam Savage. The difference between science and fucking around is when you do science, you take notes. So, yeah, honestly, like if I had a transportation circle and I didn't know what happens when you send a living creature through it, I don't know. I'm gonna buy some larvae at a fishing store and send them and see what happens. Do they grow bigger? Do they shrink? Do they die? Do they get vaporized? Do they melt together? I don't know, but I wanna know. I'm curious like that. Oh, there's no harm in keeping back. And of course, she's yet again the comedic relief, the butt of every joke. I was fully expecting her to fall in, especially with all the foreshadowing we did around, oh, nobody ever sent a living being, what's going to happen? Or maybe Sarasa pushes her off and Sarasa herself gets transported. And it turns out that nothing happens. She just gets transported and that's it. Or maybe we can start a new plot point. Maybe she turns into a baby. Or, something, whatever. And it fizzled out, it crackled, crinkled, uh, crinkled. No, sorry, I said that. Immediate. My mind immediately went in the direction of internet historians' video on Dashcon. I don't ever want to hear or say the word crinkling. Yeah, it crackled with electricity and it fizzled out and it burned. Why? I don't know. Probably because of the limiter being sent. That would be my assumption. Because you send the limiter, then it kind of limited the energy magic in the interdimensional space through which everything is being sent. It sucked the energy out of the warp space, and that overloaded one of the circles. We even see some crackling here. Yeah. So probably something along those lines. Is it because the pendant was set along? Probably. There might have been other cause. And she's, again, worrying a lot. She really is a worrywart, isn't she? Hmm. This episode really surprised me on many accounts. First one being that nobody alive was actually sent through it, through the circle. And the second one being that Sarasa didn't go through a growth arc, as I expected she would have. I fully expected this to be the equivalent of I don't know, Super Sentai heroes losing their morphing powers and having to fight with bare hands and getting better at fighting with bare hands thanks to that, being able to defeat the minions without having to transform, and then they get their power back and they are all the more powerful because not only do they have their know-how how to beat those monsters barehanded without transformation, now they have the added power of transformation. I was fully expecting something like that to happen. Sarasa loses her crutch, essentially, learns how to do alchemy without that crutch, perhaps a little, a little worse than she would have if she had that crutch still, but still, that would signify her growth. But no, we're not doing that. She just can't do alchemy without the limiter. Doesn't seem to be a technical issue. Till that day when I met Sarasa, I was surprised by her downright abnormal amount of magical power, but that was all. But then I was reminded of the joy of alchemy. I treated it as a job and nothing more. But then Sarasa showed so much joy that it became infectious, and I found my lost joy. That's cool. Retroactive character growth for her. I really do like it. If it weren't for your advice, I would have never experienced this sense of fulfillment. It was fate, and yeah, we're going. Uh, Interesting that we didn't have a character growth arc for Sarasa. I really honestly was fully expecting that. That she's gonna be able to do at least some alchemy without her crutch, but no. And of course, it's all about her trying to be independent and not relying on others to a fault, to a big, big fault, honestly. I want to become a fine alchemist. Um, for some reason, my poor man's Stream Deck doesn't want to connect to OBS. Oh well. Still have my hotkeys. Yeah, she wants to be self-sufficient to a fault, not ever relying on anybody, but that's not the point, is it? You should be relying on people. You should be relying on your master. You should be relying on your family. You should be relying on your friends. And you should be there when they need someone to rely on. It's a, mutual exchange. We live in a society. As much of a meme as that sentence is, we do. And in society, the members of it do rely on each other. They create more than a sum of the parts of these individuals. So yeah, I guess maybe a little bit of character growth for Sarasa, that she's learned to maybe rely on her master a little bit more. This is interesting. I thought the circle was smeared because, I don't know, but that it can get unsmeared. Interesting. Again, I still do believe that it would have been a better idea if this was burned into the floor or etched or something else than just drawn with magic coal or something. But what do I know about alchemy, right? I don't have any more business here, and I need to run my own shop, so I'm going. I'll make this into an even better shop. Though I'm sure I'll still rely on you a whole lot more. That's the correct mindset. See, there was a little bit of growth to her. There was. I'm glad. And off she goes. To adventure. Like a protagonist of a shonen series. And that's a crystal rose. Did we see any crystal roses in this episode? I don't think we did. But, okay, cool. Crystal rose. Sure. That's it. That is it. That was episode 7 of Shinmai Renkinjutsushi no Tenpo Keiei. And it was cool. I did like the retroactive character growth for what's her master's name? I forgot. Ophelia. Ophelia. Some retroactive character growth for Ophelia. Some character growth for Sarasa. And we also got a bit more of a glimpse into Sarasa's past, which is always appreciated, especially with a series that started as more or less in medias res, as Sarasa was already graduating, having those occasional glimpses into her past, perhaps into her school life, perhaps into her apprenticeship. That's cool, and that's going to be appreciated if there's more of that. I was fully expecting something to go down after a relaxing episode that was episode 6. I guess her losing the pendant was something that did go down, but not to the degree that I was expecting. Like, I was expecting another monster invasion or something to that degree. Instead, we got some character building, some relationship building of Sarasa and Ophelia. And we got some interesting hooks, plot hooks, potential plot hooks. Like the weird thing that happened to her circle. We still don't know what the deal was. We still don't know what caused it. I don't know if that was known in the source material or not, but in this particular case, we have no clue. Something caused it. Oh well, something did, and that's about it. I wonder if we're gonna learn about it. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? And yeah, of course, the Chekhov's gun of nobody knows what happens when you send something alive through it. I fully expect that gun to fire fairly soon, I think. Although maybe not. Maybe it's something they're leaving for way, way later in the series. Who's to say? Who's to say? What else? I think that's it. I think I said my piece. I said what I needed to say. But maybe you guys do have something more to say, and if so, tell me about it in the comments down below. What did you think of this episode, my reaction, my theories? No spoilers, please. I know episode 8 is already out by the time this episode releases on YouTube. Episode 9 might even be out already, so no spoilers. If you do want to talk spoilers, Discord, here, also link in the description. Join it, there's a channel for this anime there, and you can discuss spoilers to your heart's content. Like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, but tell me why so I can improve. Subscribe to the channel to be notified of future releases of not only Shinmai Renkinjutsushi no Tenpo Keiei, but also Tensei Shitaraken Deshita, Simple Gear Axis, Madoka Magica Rebellion that I'm gonna be watching soon-ish, Gundam Witch from Mercury, and Arknight's Prelude to Dawn as a somewhat of a veteran player of the game. I also stream sometimes Arknights and other gachas, so you might want to click the bell to be notified when I go live. Next, support the channel if you want monetarily. Patreon Throne, links in the description. On Patreon for $10 a month you get early access to non-seasonal shows like Symphony Gear, like Madoka, like whatever comes in the future. And for just $1 you get a role on the Discord and a place in the credits. And also early-ish access to seasonal things. If I'm late with something, then I might decide to upload it to a $1 tier. Depends. It's not a rule. On Throne, you can pitch in directly towards my purchase of better gear, better software, stuff like that. And if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, it's completely free. Share my content, spread the word. It does help the channel a lot. So, with that out of the way, I think that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff. And I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers. And here's the list of Patreons. You can be one of them if only your heart desires.